Hello, receiving teachers, receiving students, and Sixies. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, quickly, I'd like you to find a clean space in your exercise book, and I'd like you to calculate this fraction or change this fraction into a percentage. Your fraction is 1/4. So following the steps on how to change a fraction into a percentage, I'd like you to quickly work out the answer to that. I will only give you 2 minutes to complete that. Okay, sit up straight. I can see most students have finished. Who would like to come up and show his or her working out on the whiteboard? Okay, Rodney, thank you very much. Okay, class listening now. Let's hear what Rodney will say to us from his working out. Thank you, Rodney.
First, I multiply. I write 100 over 1, and I simplify 4 into 4 equals 1, and 4 into 100 equals 25, and I times 1 times 25 equals 25, and 1 times 1 equals 1. My answer is 25%.
Okay, very good. He has clearly explained to us following the steps on how to convert a fraction into a percentage. Did we all have the same working out in our books? Yes, very good to those students who have the same working out. For those students who are still confused, I'd like you to see the working out and you may do your own corrections. So the answer to 1/4 as a percentage is 25%. Don't forget the percentage symbol must always be written after the final answer that you come up with, because we are dealing with percentage. Okay, we will now move on to our lesson topic for today. Okay, our lesson topic for today is percentage to fraction. We will now be doing the opposite of what we have learned in our previous lesson. So students, I'd like us to watch very carefully when we are going through the steps and methods on how to change a percentage into a fraction. Okay, looking at what is now on the PowerPoint, there are some important things that we got to learn when we are talking about percentage and fraction. Here, very importantly, a percentage is a fraction with a denominator equal to 100. It can be written as what is shown here. 5% can be written as a fraction 5 over 100, like what is said, it has been said from the first sentence or statement. 100 is always the denominator when we are talking about percentage. Okay, 5 remains as 5. This line here refers to pair, 1. And 100 is cent. So these are just names that will represent these numbers. And it all comes back to this written form here, 5% as in symbol form and also in words. A percentage is a fraction with a denominator equal to 100, like what has been said from the top. The percentage symbol here has a sloping line. This is the line that is referring to, which means pair. The symbol has 2 small zeros, which means 100. So 5% is written as 5% with this symbol. The symbol represents percentage or percent. So these are some of the things that we are to consider when we are trying to change a percentage to a fraction. We must know a percentage must always be written out of 100 as the denominator. And then from there you can simplify if possible. Let's have a look at our learning activity using the different methods on how to convert a percentage to a fraction. Step number 1, remove the percentage sign by making a fraction with the percent as the numerator and 100 as the denominator. Okay, this is what the first step is referring to. We have 5%, and it's telling us to write that as a fraction. And this is how it should be written. 5 over 100. Can we simplify that fraction? Class, can we simplify that fraction? Yes. By what? By 5. Very good. So if you know your times table very well, when it comes to this second step, simplifying, it would be very easy for you. For if you don't know your times table very well, you will find difficulties when you are simplifying your fractions. So let's go on to the next step. Simplify the fraction if needed. Yes, we have answered that 5 over 100 can be simplified by 5. Okay, we divide by 5 on both sides. And your final answer would be 1 over 20, because when you multiply 5 times 20, it will give you 100. 5 times 1 will give you 5. So your simplified fraction would be 1 over 20. Good. I'd like you to do one essay practice. You can discuss with your friends following the simple rules that we have gone through. I'd like you to convert 30% to a fraction in its simplest form. Do make sure to show all your working out if you are simplifying. 1 minute for that activity. Okay, I can see students in the room showing signs that they have finished. Can we go through the answer to that activity? Who would like to come up and show the working out to that on the whiteboard? Robert? Okay, let's see Robert's working out on the whiteboard and try to compare his working out with yours in your books. Okay, students are saying yes, meaning they have the same working out and the same answer like what Robert has for us on the whiteboard. Let's compare his working out with what I have on the PowerPoint. He has written out 30% as 30 over 100. Okay, looking up now on the PowerPoint, 30 over 100 simplified by 10 on both sides. As you can see, the arrows have been shown, like what he has to do the same with his working out. Cross to show that you have simplified. 10 into 10 goes, or 10 into 100 goes 10. 10 into 30 goes 3. So when you multiply, it gives you 10 into 10 goes 1 and so forth. So when you multiply 3 times 1 is 3, 10 times 1 is 10. For the sake of those students who might be wondering how he got that number. Because if you still have 10 as that he has written 10 over 10, when you multiply that, you might get your answer like the fraction 30 over 100. So it's always best to simplify by using the arrows to cross out the numbers. So your simplified fraction would be 3 over 10. Put your hand up if you have the same working out like what Robert and I have prepared. Okay, well done. I'd like you to give yourself 5 big claps. Okay, now we will go on to your actual exercise. You have 2 exercises. One you have 3, and the other one you have 2. So if you don't complete exercise 2, you will complete that for homework. So class, you have 3 exercises for you to complete. I will give you 5 minutes to at least complete these 3 exercises. Convert the following percentage to fraction and simplify if possible. And you have 10%, 15%, and 20%. Write neatly in your books. If you are still confused, you refer back to the 2 learning activities that we have gone through together, just to help you, guide you to complete those 3 exercises. Receiving teacher, you can walk around to check to see that the students have completed the 3 exercises, and you can also mark their work. I will collect your book later to make comment. To 15 goes how many times? Goes? And what's your number here? What the first one? Check this one again. Okay. Who raised your hand in this sense? Mother, was it you? Samantha, I will collect your books to make comment. You can still simplify this by 1. 2 and 10 can be still simplified. Simplify this again. Simplify this. Don't forget to simplify your answers. Okay, most students have finished. I'd like us to go through one together on the board. The rest, I will collect your books for marking, because I will be assessing those 3 activities. Is that clear, class? Okay, I can see that students would like me to correct your work, so we will only go through one together. The other 2, I will collect your books and I will check it for myself. So I'd like a volunteer this time, maybe a girl to come up and show her working out on the board. Okay, let's have Samantha. Receiving students, we are now correcting exercise 1A. So you should have your student also, a friend in the room, to come up and show his or her working out on the blackboard. Okay, thank you, Samantha. Can you explain to the class why did you have all those crossing? Why did you have those numbers? Where did you get those numbers from?
1 divided by 10 is 1, and 100 divided by 10 is 10. That's how I got my answer, 1/10.
Okay, she has explained what she has written on the board. I will go through that together again for the sake of our other friends who are still confused. Having in mind the percentage that was given to you is 20% or 10%. Okay, don't forget, always write that percentage down. When you want to change that percentage into a fraction, it must always be written as a fraction. The percentage here is 10/100. She has simplified this fraction by dividing 10 on both sides. Samantha, don't forget to put your fraction bar. 10 into 10 goes 1. 10 into 100 goes 10. 10 times 1. Don't forget, 10 times 1 is 10. Just to cross-check that this number is equal to this number. 1 times 1 is 1. Your simplified fraction for exercise 1A is 1/10. Put your hand up if you have got that working out and the answer correct. Well done. For the other 2 exercises, I will collect your books. So as the receiving teacher, I'd like you to collect your students' book and check to see that they have actually completed the 2 exercises. Am I making myself clear here, class? Okay, good. So if you haven't completed, I'd like you to find time to complete those exercises. Okay, our summary point for today is a percentage is a fraction with a denominator equal to 100. Our key phrase for today's lesson, percentage as fraction. To the receiving teacher, your next lesson topic is way to write ratio. Materials that would be needed for the lesson are chart, markers, and blank flashcards. With that, we have come to the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for your participation.